All right, shock tune time. We got the crew on it.
The reason why I want the spring to do most of the work is because when the oil gets really super hot a lot of the time and stays hot, it starts to break down.
New Year's, set up 7 cars. Not one of the cars had the same settings on them. Every single car was different, whether it be horsepower, whether it be weight of the car, and then driving style.
Sure.
All 7 XRS 2-seaters were different.
And we pretty much use IBOC for everything.
Sure.
Guaranteed for 1,000,000 miles.
Oh, wow.
They don't fade.
I love your videos, they're so cool.
Awesome, yay, thank
it
you.
It keeps me going in between trips. Nice.
How awesome it is.
Who do we have here in the crew?
So, Jeep Porter over there,
Jeep.
lead engineer.
What's going on?
Awesome.
We got Johnny Cash, aka Martine.
Over here, hiding behind hiding behind this monster right here.
So I tell you what, I'm going to take these off with Martine, and if you want to chat with Jeep about springs, so people always wonder about springs, how do you get to spring rates and how we do it, and we've always been known for, people know us for having more spring rate.
Yes.
So while I'm ripping these off, Jeep can help explain what we do, the process, because it's a lengthy process of what we do to get to our spring rates. And Jeep can roll with you on that.
Perfect.
If you don't mind. Jeep, you want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
I'll get cranking on this and you can walk us through the whole process, what we do.
That would be awesome. Awesome.
All right, Martine, let's roll.
So a lot of the way that we valve is the reason why we want the spring to do most of the work is because when the oil gets really super hot a lot of the time and stays hot, it starts to break down, wear bands start to go bad, seals start to go bad, your oil turns black and it loses, its viscosity, its weight when it gets super hot.
Actually starts to burn the oil.
Starts to burn the oil and your oil will actually become black and
wow.
nasty, kind of like motor oil.
So then it's no longer as effective as it was.
Yeah, no longer its effectiveness, and it loses its qualities to prevent cavitation, which is bubbles inside of the shock when it's cycling.
Okay.
I would just go walk through the process of how we get to our spring rate, the springs that we use, and what we do that's different from stock.
Perfect.
So to start off, we 4-corner scale the car, get the weight with 2 people in it, average weight people, 170 pounds, right around that area. Just a stock car, no extra weight. Get the weights, then what we do is we actually cycle the suspension. So we will droop the car out all the way, do the shock angle at droop, shock angle at estimated ride height where we'd like it to be, and then shock angle at full bump. So then, after we do that, we measure the length of the arm. So we measure from pivot point on the frame to shock mounting point to tire. So then what that will do is give us the leverage of the car. So the shock angle is called the cosine angle.
Okay.
So we do that front and rear, and pretty much what we do is we put that into an equation with the weight of the car, with the leverage points on the car, and that'll spit us out a number. And what that is that's the ride rate.
Okay.
That doesn't actually give us our spring rate, so that gives us the ride rate, which means from there we come up with a combination of numbers to get to that ride rate.
So basically how much leverage the suspension would have on the shock.
Yeah, so your ride rate, so with a dual rate combination, you can have a 500 over a 500 pound spring. Okay, so when you compress a 500 pound spring 1 inch, it's 500 pounds of resistance. But if you take 2 500 pound springs and compress them, it is 250 pounds of resistance. They dilute each other.
Sure.
So we have to come up with a spring combination that equals that ride rate for that car. And each car has their own ride rate. The car will tell you what its ride rate is based off of the geometry, shock angle, leverage points, things like that. And we pretty much use IBOC for everything.
Sure.
Guaranteed for 1,000,000 miles.
Oh, wow.
They don't fade. And a lot of things that we like to do with our spring rates is we don't like to use a whole ton of preload to get the car ride height. We'd rather, you know, maybe have an inch, 2 inches of preload to get
Actually
the car
use
ride
the
height.
spring rather
Actually
than
use
smash
the spring. And, you know, with the combination of our super long springs, we use every bit of available space on the shock for our
Nice.
springs.
I noticed that on my cousin's car.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just the way we do it, and we're typically about double the rate most of the time that stock is.
Okay.
Because we like to use, we'd rather the spring do a little bit more work than the shock
Sure.
to keep shock temperatures down. You know,
Sure.
when you add a lot of valving and the oil has to work a lot harder to get through that big gnarly valve stack, you know, it's friction, and friction creates heat.
Yeah.
So we like to
Yeah, so-
reduce the heat in the shocks as much as possible by making the spring do most of the work.
Makes sense. So shock, yeah, spring's not going to fade, but the shock will
Spring's
if you
not going
use.
to fade, but the shock will fade.
Yeah.
Kind of the process that we use. We stick to it. We do it on every car that we do. That's just kind of how we do things.
Sounds good. That's an awesome explanation. I'm glad you took the time. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was that's great information. That's, you know, it's what they do. They've obviously spent a bunch of time on research and development and testing and tuning and all the things that they do. So they're over here, they're tearing these things apart. Look at that.
Who's the oil guy?
I'll do the oil. We have a dirty bucket right over there that we can just, so as I was saying, look how much preload you have to have
Oh yeah.
just to keep the car ride height.
I put that preload
Yeah.
because I never drove this car brand new until it came out of the trailer in the desert. We raised it up before
Yeah.
we ever drove it.
The good thing about the iBox is they do have a break-in period. So, you know, after 150-mile ride, you guys will notice it when you go out.
Sure.
It's going to drop about an inch.
Okay.
But that's it.
Yep.
The springs just need to break in. They drop about an inch, but it
Then
maintains
it's
the right
done.
height
Okay.
forever. We got 3,400 miles on our four-seater right here.
Oh wow.
With the same spring setup, and we've never touched preload.
Wow.
So
It's sitting right where it needs to be, right where we had
where
it.
it needs to be all the time.
Not like those brand new Can-Ams you see
Yeah.
on Bender Row sitting
Yeah.
with the radius arm parallel or
Yeah.
beyond parallel.
Yeah. No.
Oh, by the way.
I'll take the man gun any day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good one.
Russ has that part down, huh? The sticker removal.
Ah, he's a sticker guy.
Heat it up and pull it off.
Yeah, pull it off.
It smells amazing over here. I'm one of those rare people. I love the smell of motor oil,
Russ, thanks for
transmission
getting me
oil,
that stuff
diesel.
this morning.
You
I
name
like
it.
the smell of oil too.
Yeah, do you?
Yes,
It's
sir.
pretty cool, huh?
They've already put them in.
So you hang out in the shop a lot?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Go ahead and change
It's a
that
cool
before
place.
bands, too.
We do change the flow rate of the bypass tubes, and that's what we're going to get ready to do right now.
Perfect.
There's a hole here,
Okay.
and there's a hole under here, and that's where that's where the bypass is.
Perfect.
And so we do change the flow rate on these, and that's what we're getting ready to do. And then we also change all the valving on your piston. And in between that combination of our springs, the valving on the piston, changing the flow rate of your internal bypass, that's where we get the ride we get.
Nice.
And you've seen the videos.
I have.
Yep.
Many of them.
And they work. And you know, another thing is the cool thing is we have the ability now with what we do internally. We're going to go out and we're going to dial it in externally to your driving style,
Perfect.
which is going to be cool.
Yes,
You know,
that's
we're going to
awesome.
get you dialed in.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect example. New Year's, set up 7 cars. Not one of the cars had the same settings on them. Every single car was different, whether it be horsepower, whether it be weight of the car, and then driving style.
Sure.
All 7 XRS 2-seaters were different with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
external settings.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have a preference.
every-
Do they want to bomb through the whoops, or do they want to be able to jump, or do they want to be able to?
And so that's what's going to be fun tomorrow is we're going to go dial this thing into you.
Yeah.
You and your wife, make it soft, make it to where it's enjoyable to sit in the seat for a long period of time.
She's
So
picky.
I'm stoked. I'm
She's-
ready.
She's picky. She's not really. She's easy. She's easy to please. She just likes to ride.
You got the good one then.
She's
You
awesome.
got a good one.
She's awesome. She loves it.
She is awesome. That's for sure.
Look at it.
Nailed it again.
Oh, look at that. You got the whole thing?
Nailed it again.
Is that like the holy grail if you can pull the whole
Yeah, that's the goal every time. You just and then you just tag it right there.
Are you the only one that can pull it
I'm the
off?
only one. I'm certified.
Nice.
So, Darren, while we have your shocks off, we're going to go ahead and service your CVs.
Awesome.
These CVs we're going to peel back a boot and show you. They don't come properly greased. And anybody that gets suspension work done should get their CV serviced, because once you free up your shocks, you create more heat. We find the next weak link, you got more power now, a lot more power, and you're going to have your shocks moving more freely. So the next thing we need to do is service your axles. Make sure they have plenty of grease so that your CV is insulated. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tear them apart, show you guys what's in it, or what lack of grease is in it, should I say. And we'll go through that process right now.
Perfect. Awesome. These guys are knocking it out. They're killing it. They got this down. They've been doing this. They know exactly what it takes to keep from breaking more parts after putting more horsepower down and to get this tune dialed in. So we're leaving it in their good hands, and they are going to dial it in, and we can't wait to test it. So why is it Johnny Cash?
He likes to sing.
He likes to sing?
He's a good singer too.
He likes 80s rock,
Right?
classic rock. Isn't that right, Martine?
Yep.
80s classic
Yeah.
rock is the thing.
We're in the wrong place of the planet.
All right, so it looks like this shock's coming apart. Going back together.
We're going back together. We made the adjustments to the bypass, to the piston, and we're throwing it back together right now.
Nice.
And meanwhile, Martine is getting ready to pull your front axles so we can service those.
Awesome.
He is pulling it.
She's pulling them right now. Look at these stickers. Those are nice, by the way. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I like those. Very nice. All right, so these guys are hard at it over here. Ripping axles out so we can put grease in them. We're gonna go take a look at this one right here. Let me sneak my way around here so I can get a good view.
So this is what the inside of the stock ones look like. They use a different grease on the rear than they do the front. You can tell these things don't have a lot of grease to them. There's not a ton. Anyway, I'm not super thrilled about the amount.
Oh wow.
So
Whoa.
there's this is the inside, which takes more of the beating as well.
And it's the
And
thinnest one.
You
yeah.
know, you don't have a lot of grease in there, and
No, no.
this is why guys are breaking axles right here. This is just, and we're going to check the timing on it as well. The fronts were not timed.
Both of
and
them were off.
Both of them were off one tooth, and it's the guy in the factory.
Yep.
So I'm going to turn this just here. Find top dead center on that one.
And that's exactly why I have not been to the doctor for a while.
2 gloves, 2 patients.
You can peel that back. I'll clean up, buddy. And,
All right, so axles are going back on. They got greased up. We don't want to break them. And then shocks are going to go back on. And then this thing will be ready to go.
Best thing to do. Let me put the tire on my side, and then we won't move the jack to that side.
I was tired one night, getting ready to go to Glamis or someplace. You know, I'm already exhausted. I come home, I gotta get this thing ready and loaded.
Right.
Get the back tires on and realize I had them wrong.
Oh, paddles are going the wrong way.
Yeah.
You can drive around in reverse.
Okay, shocks are going on. Look at these nice stickers.
yeah, boy. That might be my favorite part of the day right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm an eater.
Is everyone hangry? Because you guys have all been real nice. but
No,
I know.
we're hungry, not hangry.
Good.
All right, we got timeout going.
Let's get this.
I got a lot accomplished. I got all this food, I got a refund, and I got the new room.
Room at the same place?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. A room right here.
Good, you're handy to have around. Ready or okay?
Look at these shocks.
Huh?
A little bit.
Now we have a little pop of silver. I like it.
That's a silver.
I like it.
American-made iBot.
Yeah.
That's what it needs is a little flag stamp on it. It says "Made in America." You ready to eat?
Oh no.
All right. Go take your time out and eat. Manejalo.
So what do we think?
That's good. Right where we want, buddy.
Triple tune.
Triple tune day.
Triple tune day. That's what we were
Triple
calling
tune
it.
day. I love it. I'm excited to go run it and
Yeah.
get the before and after reaction from you on how everything worked, and
I have.
we're gonna go fine tune you tomorrow.
I am looking forward to that.
I'm excited.
We have.
Go have a good time with this unit. This is gonna be fun. I take notes of where each car ends up. Like I said earlier, tuned 7 cars over what was it, New Year's? Yeah, I think it was New Year's. Not one of them ended up with the same settings. So it'd be fun to see where you end up with your settings, and
Yeah.
your driving style.
See what it comes out to be.
Absolutely, I think it'll be fun, and I'm excited to get this thing to fit you and Brandy, so you guys are comfortable, able to drive hard, enjoy it, and take a lot of the harshness out of it, so you guys don't feel beat up at the end of the day.
We like that.
Yeah,
We definitely like that.
That's what we do.
That's
So
what everybody's looking for.
let's roll with it. I like it.
Okay, so it's just before 6 a.m. in the morning. We're back at MTS and loading up cars.
Okay, so we just crossed back over into California. Does it feel any different?
Well, we got to go under this thing.
Oh yeah, we're going to the checkpoint.
That's awesome. I've never seen the dunes from this side out here on 78.
So
So
amazing.
pretty cool. Check it out. Look at that.
And there's cinematic music playing right now. Or something. I don't know. Here we are in the beautiful, beautiful sand of Glamis, getting ready to ride for the very first time with our newly tuned X3 91 octane power package from KMS Performance. We got the KMS Performance clutch tune. We got the MTS Offroad shock tune.